Hey Leah, what are we unwrapping today?
Hey, we are unwrapping Heat.
All right, Michael Mann's 1995 film Heat.
Mhm.
Um, so Leah, right before we started recording, you were saying how your mom loves this film.
She
And
does.
did she tell you why she loves this film? Because your mom is
Yeah, we
often
talked about the movie after I saw it, I
where, yeah,
think.
your mom often says, I don't like that film because it's violent. And Heat
Hmm.
is actually, I think that Heat is Nolan-esque violent in that there is a lot of violence, but there's not a lot of gore.
Hmm.
It is realistic and it's stylized. And there's a larger point that man is always making.
Hmm.
So right out of the gate, what were
Hmm.
your thoughts?
Well, firstly, to answer your first question, why my mom likes it, it's like a pretty quick answer, but I actually think this genre of film is one of her favorites. It's like a stylized thriller. So she loves like Michael Mann. It's one of her favorite directors, I think. So she's always
Same.
talked about Heat. So yeah, so she's like a sucker for this type of thing when it's done really well. Yeah, so my thoughts. I liked it. Um, I don't know that I loved it. I think it's still, the more that I think about it and talk about it, I'm liking it more, which is a habit of mine. Like I do think that it sinks in a bit more, and feels a little bit more worthwhile. When it first ended, I was like, like that's it. Like this is worth the hype. But yeah, the more that I think about certain scenes and sort of the meaning behind it, and I'm liking it more and more. And I do think it's discussing a lot of things, which we'll get into. I don't, need to
Yeah,
like
well, this
jump
this is a
into
film
that.
that grows on most people, right? I mean, it is, of course, it's considered a classic right now, but it wasn't when it came out.
Hmm.
It received decent reviews. I believe its release date was December 15th, 1995.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I noticed it
and
got no Oscar nominations. I was like
yeah, right.
shocked. I
So
looked at it again. I was like, wait, that
no
can't be
Oscar
true.
nominations, right?
Yeah.
And his next one, Mann's next film was The Insider, which received, quite a bit of Oscar
Right.
nominations, right? Like
And I
that
did see
was
that one when it came out, I remember.
so I didn't see, I mean, I remember, let me look at the box office real quick for Heat. I think it made like 55, 67. So 67 US, right, on a budget of 60. So it was not, that it did decent, right? It was the kind of, like Tombstone made like 52, right, the year before. Right. No, Tombstone was 2 years before, right? But it's in that range. Came out Christmas time, like 2 years before. This was the year that De Niro had like two huge films in a month. Casino was in November, right? And then Heat's right here in December. Toy Story was running the table in November, and then Jumanji, the weekend of the 15th, bounced it out of number one, with Robin
Wow.
Williams, which Patrick and I
Jumanji did
saw.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Patrick and I saw that with Michael Martinez, famed Michael Martinez
Of
from the
course.
podcast. And Michael Martinez was actually quite upset with Heat because he thought Danny Trejo didn't get much to say.
It's
And
true.
he like when we saw it said like, man, that guy didn't get anything to say in the movie. Especially when they all decided to do this the final score, the bank heist.
Yeah.
I think he just said sure. But worldwide, it made almost 200 million. So like it recouped its money that way. But domestically, I didn't know anybody that saw it in the movie theater outside of like myself and maybe like some of my dad's friends. I did see it Christmas vacation in a packed theater when Pacino says that Ashley Judd, when Hank Azaria says, "Why did I get involved with her?" And Pacino goes, "Because she has a great ass." That got a huge laugh in the theater. I thought it was insane. Right? It's one of those moments in the
Mm-hmm.
film where it's just what's going on,
Yeah.
and it's one of those films that over time it became a VHS classic, became a cable classic. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It would run on cable so often, and people when they weren't sitting into a theater to watch this 3 hour like crime epic and we're just watching it in pieces or just renting it and then saying, hey, you know what? I was just sitting with it. I want to watch it again. It grew on people so much that it
Mm-hmm.
has this infamous legacy now.
Mm-hmm.
It is, to spoiler early on, man is not only one of my absolute favorite directors. If you could have a Mount Rushmore of directors where you put like four, heads on a mountain, he would be one of mine.
Wow.
Obviously Spielberg as well, and then there's like
Mm-hmm.
then I debate back and forth between a few others. But when I was younger, one of my passwords were some arrangement of Vincent Hanna and the year I was born, 79.
Oh God.
Like I really, as we talk about the film, I have a real love for, even though he's an asshole a fair amount of the time, like Pacino's Vincent Hanna. Like that something there is that character that I am still enthralled with, even watching it again this go
Hmm.
around.
I don't actually
But
think he's that much of an asshole.
he's an asshole to his wife. Everybody, he's great with everybody else. He's
Is he though? I had a problem with her. I had a problem with all the female characters, but I just didn't get a lot of her. And I thought he was fine. I mean, I was like, what's her deal? Like, she married him. He's a cop. I just did not understand a
we
lot
could
of
we
that.
can
And then she just has an affair, like, and the guy's just like hanging out in the house. I'm sorry, but none of that made any sense to
the
me. It
guy,
was
the
way too
guy,
easy.
that's character actor Xander Berkeley. Respect must be due to Xander Berkeley. Uh,
Sure.
and he wasn't just hanging out in the house. It was that morning. She was making him breakfast. He didn't know she was married. It's a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, it's not
She
his
set poor
fault,
Xander Berkeley
but
up.
she is married to him, and she's just like, let's have an affair and then stay over, and my husband might just show up. And I don't know. I
I
just
think
didn't
she was
believe.
I think she was planning on him showing up. That was the point for him to
Yeah,
show up.
well, it's too
So
easy.
for him to get home at some point, and all of her arguments throughout I found to be legitimate. uh, when she says, like, hey, like you're passionate, and then you get what you want, and where you quote unquote need, and then you're gone, right? Like essentially, he does what he wants, right? And he
Yeah,
has
he
the
does.
best excuse possible to do exclusively what he wants.
Hmm.
That he hunts predators, right? That he's a cop and he's very good at his job and he hunts predators,
Hmm.
right? And she's not the first wife, right, to have this complaint, the movie says, because it's his third wife. And what is it
Yeah,
that great line John Voight says? Like he says he's on his third marriage. What did he think that means? He likes to stay home.
right.
Like I forget the
Yeah.
exact line, but it's amazing.
Right. And it's a classic trope, like the cop that never is home, or, obviously these things ruin marriages. But I also think when you're marrying somebody like that, you think they would have connected on some level where she understands and respects what he's doing. I don't know. I thought it was a little too easy that she's like, you're walking with the dead and not me. It's like, well, you married this guy and he's like taking care of your daughter. I don't know. I just thought like, give him, some
Well, I
room to
don't know.
do
Is
what
he
he's
really taking care of the
doing.
daughter? I mean,
No,
he
he's
picks
he's there.
he's there. I think right, and she likes him.
Hmm.
So I mean, clearly she has a fondness for him the way
Right.
that, and there is a fondness for him, right? Because there's something kind about him in the immediacy, right? Like, and where I do want to, at some point we will rewind, but I was this time around watching it, the way that he hugs Wayne Grove's victim's mom early in the film is very different than the way that he hugs his wife at the hospital. There's a moment of urgency and necessity when he hugs the mom of the victim. He holds her, and then she wants to break away, and he looks at her and he holds her again. And that rush where she's trying to get to her daughter is kind of subsided, and then he lets other people to take over, right? He's there in the immediacy and he does what's necessary. And he does it explicitly because it's what's necessary. It's not empathetic, it's compassionate. And then later on, when he's holding his wife at the hospital after he's taken action, when all there is to do is to be there for someone else, his eyes are saying, "Get me out of here." He's hugging her, and we only
Hmm.
see his face, and his eyes are looking, darting around, and they are just screaming, "Get me out of here." Right?
Right. Well,
He
because he
says
has
he's going to
someplace to
stay.
be. I mean,
Well,
he's got like this thing going behind the
not at that
scenes.
point. It was all over at that point. He doesn't get paged till later. He
All
gets
right.
paged in the next moment, right? He's like, yeah, he said, I'm going to be here. I'm not leaving. And he's looking like, oh shit, I want to get out of here. Right? I'm like a caged animal. And then
Right.
later when he gets paged, he says, no, I'll stay, like, which is the appropriate thing to say. And she goes, no, leave. And boy, he runs down those stairs with such joy.
Yeah.
And then Mann cuts back to her with her head in her hands. Like he could have just left it at that, but he intentionally cuts back to her.
Hmm.
This is not to, I still love him, right? But I do think that Mann is intentionally letting us know the kind of guy he is. That
Yeah.
he is, like I had a philosophy professor in college who was upset, who I would go on jogs with, and we would talk movies. He was upset by the ending. He thought that Macaulay should have won at the end and not Pacino, right? And he's like, he only won
Hmm.
because he's the good guy in the movie. Like, well, okay, maybe that's true. And at the same time, though, he's almost a better predator. He
Hmm.
has less connections than De Niro, right? Macaulay goes after Chris when he's wounded, right? Not that Pacino wouldn't go after one of his guys when they're wounded, right? But he goes after him. He takes him with him. He doesn't leave him behind. He tries to take Edie with him too, right? Eventually, right? He leaves her, but he seems to be not only more connected than Pacino is to people, but desperate to have connection as well. But anyway,
Hmm.
Patrick, what were you? I
We'll
know
get back
you're
to
you're
that.
itching to talk. Yeah, we can get back to that.
So going back to his wife, they do a really interesting thing where it's very clear that she's not all present from the beginning. Like Leah, you're like, why
Hmm.
would they? She was a perfect wife for him, and it's illustrated in her relationship with her daughter. She's not
Hmm.
present for anybody, and that
Right. They have, just to support Patrick's point, right? She says, you can take me to breakfast. He says, I got to go to work. You see her, like taking pills. Later on, she talks about
Hmm.
Prozac, right? So maybe
Yeah.
that was it. But like, that's the immediate response.
yeah, like, right. The character alludes to something like that she's just not present in a lot of different ways, but I think like for the times they like tone it down to like I'm stoned and I'm Prozac or whatever.
Yeah. Or yeah, she's not paying attention to the daughter. She's like reading the paper and she's trying to get her attention. Yeah, she's not great either.
But it just works perfectly for his lifestyle.
Right.
But Leah, to your point, like he knows that because it allows
Hmm.
him to do whatever he wants. It's a transactional relationship. And then at a certain point, she's just like, I'm done with this because she's tired of it. And
Hmm.
he's like a legitimate mess. I was surprised watching this time because I really thought that when I was a kid and I saw it, and I kept this lens that De Niro and Pacino paralleled each other. But De Niro was much more brutal in his violence and almost sociopathic, where Pacino, the character's a mess and he's less likable, but there's more of a person because he's trying to like be a human in all of this violence. And that you
Hmm.
see the consequences and how that like affects him.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
successful at being a human, but he can only be a human where it's about choices, right? He chooses to be a human being and he is compassionate. And we're on these moments of urgency, right? Like he doesn't like to see people in pain, right? Or to be victimized. So he loves to hunt, so he hunts predators. And that is what he thoroughly enjoys. And he's very good at it. And I do think he has compassion for a variety of people throughout the film, right? Including, and I think that's what maybe the daughter taps into as well, right? I mean, he picks her up likely because she calls him at some point. That's why he's picking her up.
Mhm.
And he has compassion for Macaulay as well, De Niro's character, right? There is that thing there, right? He enjoys him, and that's brought up in the ending as well. He wants to catch him. And at the same time, though, when that does happen, there's no joy in it. But let's rewind a little bit. We didn't ask our initial questions. So Leah, how familiar are you with Mann?
I'm pretty familiar. So I was pulling up his IMDb because there's several credits. I think I'd seen most of them. I don't know if you have it open, but
I think I have them memorized.
oh my
All right, so we
God.
start. Well, just there's
Okay.
not that
All right,
many,
I'm
right?
gonna test you on it actually
Okay,
because
so
I'm
I
looking
think
at
it's you could test me,
it.
sure. So Jericho Mile was a TV movie, which got a lot of awards and attention. Then there's Thief, which Thief parallels Heat amazingly. I love Thief
Okay. I've
so
never
very
seen
much.
Thief. Okay. My
The
mom was telling me
Criterion,
about that, so I'm gonna have
yeah,
to watch that
Thief
one.
is it really is wonderful, and Khan is fantastically brutal. Whatever, Thief is gorgeous. I love Thief. So
Okay.
Thief, then The Keep, which was lost for quite a long time, and
Well,
Vinegar Syndrome just did a 4K release, which sold out quickly. Like movie dorks lost their mind when that came out. And The Keep is a
okay.
bit of a mess. It's a huge mess. But it's got some moments. So there's Thief, The Keep, then Manhunter, which rules, the first Hannibal Lecter
Hmm.
movie, to be put on
Oh,
screen.
okay.
And Manhunter was later remade into Red Dragon, right? When they were like, well, we
Oh,
already had two
okay.
Hannibal Lecters, so why don't we do a prequel and have Hopkins like do a
Hmm.
trilogy?
Right.
So after that's Manhunter, then Last of the Mohegans.
What about LA Takedown?
LA
Is that a
Takedown is
forgotten
a
film?
pilot. That's a TV
Oh,
pilot.
okay.
Which LA Takedown was Heat. That like he made LA Takedown. It was a TV pilot.
Okay.
Maybe they turned into
Interesting.
a movie of the week. I don't know like exactly,
Yeah, it
but
looks
it
like
was
a feature, but
but
yeah,
Heat was
maybe.
supposed to basically like Heat, like you can watch all these different narratives in Heat, like it was supposed to be a TV show,
Hmm.
right? So in between Manhunter and Last Mohegans, he did Miami Vice, right? And that's such a huge hit that he did a couple of other TV shows as well.
Okay.
And LA Takedown was either meant to be a TV show or just a TV movie. I'm not really sure about it, but like literally, it's the same premise, and the diner scene literally happens right,
Oh,
in
wow.
LA Takedown. So as far as like films go, Manhunter, Last of the Mohegans, Heat,
So Last of the
Insider.
Mohicans is also on our list.
And
And I've never
if you want to
seen it,
watch that next,
obviously. I
that'd be
was
great.
thinking maybe we should just close the loop on Man.
That sounds great. Last Mohegans rules. I love them. With Daniel Day-Lewis,
Okay. Yeah, I
this
mean
is
I
his
love
first
Daniel
film
Day-Lewis.
after My Left Foot, right? It's a
Oh,
big
okay.
studio film for men and Daniel Day-Lewis. Last Mohegans was a hit.
Hmm.
It was a big studio, like epic kind of sprawling production. The music's amazing. Daniel Day-Lewis did crazy, like he prepped like he always preps, right? Like I think he learned how to
Hmm.
there's an incredible scene with dueling muskets, long rifles, excuse me, and he did both of them. Like he did it himself, which is insane. So anyway,
Yeah.
so Mohegans, Heat, The Insider,
Hmm.
Ali, Collateral, Miami Vice, Black
Hmm.
Hat,
Uh,
Ferrari.
you skipped
Uh,
Public
uh, uh,
Enemies and Luck. Or no, that was the show. Yeah, he did
yeah,
one
Luck was a
episode of
show.
Luck.
You
But yeah,
said it,
Public Enemies
I
was
always
after
forget
Miami
Public
Vice, the
Enemies.
movie.
I always forget Public Enemies, and I don't try to memory hole it at all. I've seen it many times, but for some reason I always, yeah. So Miami.
I think
So
most of the
after,
people involved with Public Enemies forget Public
yeah,
Enemies.
and they shouldn't because that movie has amazing scenes. People didn't like that film, but I'm really irritated. I forgot Public Enemies. I was thinking about that
Hmm.
earlier today,
What's
and
Black Hat?
that
I don't even
that
know
was
if I.
that was after
Oh,
Miami Vice, right? It was Miami Vice, then Public Enemies, and then Black Hat, and then
Yeah.
Ferrari.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a big
Yeah.
Black Cat was with Hemsworth, right?
Hemsworth, yeah. And I saw them in the theater and
Okay.
I wasn't into it and I was a mistake
Huh.
because then I watched it on Blu-ray and enjoyed it. And then I saw it on 4K and I effing loved it. The final fight with the villain in Black Hat, I will forever, I love it. It is absurd and amazing.
Okay. I'll have to check that
Wow.
one out.
Yeah, I haven't seen
So
it.
which Mans have you seen, Leah?
Okay, so I've seen, yeah, none of the early ones. I kind of like disregarded them thinking they were all like TV or something, but I'll have to go back and check those out. I saw The Insider, Ali, Collateral, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, actually. I could watch that movie over and over again. I love it so much. And that's
It
another
rules.
one you gifted me, so maybe we should just watch it for good measure. Um, have not seen Miami Vice. Public Enemies I saw in the theater, I remember, and it was entertaining enough, but yeah, a little ridiculous. And Ferrari, which I did like.
So for Miami Vice on Rotten Tomato when it first came out, it had like a 30 some odd percent overall amongst critics. But if you clicked on cream of the crop critics, meaning like critics who have been doing this for a long time and are established or and are working for like notable papers, it was at 65%. Right. So there was a real like divide. Like people who saw it like, what is this? Right. Like people
Hmm.
either wanted it to be like kind of like flashy and a comedy. And it's direly serious
Hmm.
and it is amazing. Like amazing. Like
I
some
Okay.
feel like we
people
should
like
do that.
if you like you may
I
watch it
don't
and say
know.
what is this, but it is like I live and die by Miami Vice. The villains are they're scary, like really really scary, and there's cost and there's consequence. That's the thing with Mann. Most of the people in his films are violent, yet there is a certain kind of violent person that you want the other violent protagonist that Mann's rooting for and you're rooting for to take down. And the violence that we want the protagonist to always take down is not a comic violence, it's a real violence. And the difference with Heat, when I'm thinking about something like Thief or even Last Mohegans, when you think of Collateral, even Miami Vice in particular, you definitely know who you want to win. Heat is far more complicated,
Mhm.
particularly with the lead three characters, right? Like you're kind of happy when Kilmer gets away, right? Amazing performance. We could talk about that. Like I'm happy when he gets away. And it's not that I think he's a good guy. He's going to do far more damage out there. But as far as the movie goes, I'm just kind of like, I'd like to see where this leads.
I was going to say because I love Val Kilmer, and we're going to talk more about that. But Chris is a monster, right? Like
Yes.
he's a bad guy.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
but you still root for him, and that's like I'm not saying like you, Michael, still root for him. Like was rooting for him. I'm just glad he got away, but then I'm also like he's a bad guy. Like, and you get stuck with that. I don't know, like that afterwards. Like, why am I rooting for this person?
He's loyal to his friend, right? Like they have a legitimate friendship, right? And you enjoy watching the two of them together, him and De Niro. Like any scene where it's just the two of them, he's funny too. Where he's sleeping on the floor, when are you going to get furniture? It's amazing.
But that's a testament to Mann's writing and Kilmer's performance. Like just
Yes.
with because Kilmer's got like what, like 10 lines in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he just
He
commands it.
doesn't, he doesn't, but his expressions are unbelievable. When he's buying the demolition stuff in the beginning,
Yeah. That
right?
first
He
scene.
is
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
very compelling. I was like, what is he up
Yeah,
to? What's
and he's
going on in
scary
there?
looking, right? Like
Yeah.
like the guy who he's checking out. There's a podcast, One Heat Minute, and I've only listened to a few episodes. I need to listen to the whole thing. It rules. There's a guy in Australia years ago. He did it for a couple of other films afterwards, where like in the first episode, he gives a premise like, I'm gonna do an entire podcast, and each episode will be discussing 1 minute of the film Heat, starting with minute one. And I listened to like the
Wow.
first 10 episodes, and it ruled. Right. And he talks about that. He talks about like every minute. Right. And I remember that scene in particular. But when asked about it by a friend who was on the first episode with him, someone from him to talk through it with, he was basically like, my wife keeps asking me, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? He said, finally, I want to make a podcast about Heat. It's my favorite
Oh
movie.
my God.
And I'm obsessed with it. And that's what he did. I think Patrick, he eventually did like The Great Muppet Caper. I think he did Inherent Vice. I could be wrong about that. Maybe he did The Master. One of those two. I can't remember. Anyway,
It's a weird
but
mixture
I
of
would like to
favorite
get into
movies.
that podcast. But all that to say that I agree with him in that like every moment of this film, there's so much going on, and even with Kilmer, we could talk about him for such a long time, like what that character represents and what he's doing with the character. And I think part of why we find him so charming is because one, the actor, Val Kilmer, is compelling, and I believe it is partly their relationship as well, that they are loyal to each other, and they are in some way bonded together.
I don't know if they're bonded together, if it's just a shared lifestyle that is mutually beneficial.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
De Niro wouldn't go after him. There's a loyalty. When I say bonded together, I mean by choice also. De Niro's definitely loyal, like bonded to him in that he sees him go down, he goes after him, right? And they clearly did time together as well. So maybe they developed their friendship in prison, and that's something that can definitely bond people together. Or I think Mann might allude to it, right? And I don't mean like in a, you know, Pacino is bonded, Hannah's bonded with Macaulay, but that's in a very different way than Chris. They are partners. Like when I talk about characters being bonded together, I don't think there's no real connection with Sizemore. He's their friend, they're partners with him, but I wouldn't refer to them as any of that relationship as bonded together.
But that's where it's like sociopathic because Sizemore desperately wants to be connected with them. Right. They're
Yes.
like, dude, you don't need to do this. He's like, no, man, it's for I gotta be there for you guys, right? And they kind
The
of look at
action
each
is
other
the
like,
juice.
yeah, right. When he says the action is the juice,
Yeah.
they kind of like response is like,
Well,
no, it's
that's one of the
not.
times where Kilmer makes a face. Kilmer's like, yeah, I want this guy doing this thing, right?
Yeah.
And what's sociopathic is Kilmer, where he's like, that's good because we want this guy.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Works out for me.
But that's the point. I do think that Kilmer and De Niro are bonded. I think like you see in the other relationships that people are looking for things from those two individuals, and they are perfectly comfortable with like not engaging, not connecting.
Yeah. Because their whole MO is just doing this work, which is sort of the point of the movie, I think. It's like both them and Pacino, it's like their work is their life. That's really what they're doing. And they sort of sacrifice everything else for it. But it's not really a sacrifice because they don't really care about anything else. Like that's what that cafe scene, I think, was really about, is that both of them are like, I'm in this because I like doing it, not because, like, even Pacino, it's not really necessarily because he wants to do the right thing, which I think he also does, but it's also like he's really doing it because he likes what he's doing. And I think that's like that conversation the three of them have about should we do this last score is that it's like, let's do it because we don't really want to not do it.
Well, I think De Niro wants out, right? I mean, like Chris has the excuse of, look, gambling debts, I'm an addict, and I need to pay that off. So like he has the excuse of debt. Sizemore says the action is the juice. That's why I'm doing it for this reason, right? He's been
He's
smart with
just
his
an
money.
asshole.
Right, exactly. He's just an asshole, right? And the film makes that clear when he grabs the little girl at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna
right?
say, that's
So
what seals the
that is
deal.
intentional, right? For us to be like, okay, no problem with you going down, buddy. But De Niro, he says, I mean, in that cafe scene, Leah, he says like that his dream is that he's drowning. And it's funny that Pacino tries to say, well, you know what that means? He goes, of course I know what it means. It means I don't have enough time to do it, right? To do what I want. And he says, do you
Yeah.
want to be doing this? He's like, no. Like, he's good at this, right? And this is the only thing that he will do to make money. But and maybe it's just a dream that would never happen, but he envisions a future where he
Yeah.
won't be doing this ever again. He has a vision for peace a vision of peace, a dream of it, maybe, right?
Hmm.
Like that one last job kind of a thing, right? So
Yeah.
he's motivated by the idea of getting out. And so I don't think Pacino ever sees an end to what he does. It's always on
Yeah.
to the next hunt. And again, with De Niro, right? He likes things clean. He likes things neat.
Hmm.
He can't let Wayne Grow go. He has to get him. This is why Mann rules, and this is why this movie rules, because it's. I remember the first time I watched it, I was just like, it's just so much, right? Like I watched it and I was not expecting what it was, and there was so much of it. And then I remember when I got it on VHS because it was also so compelling. Like I needed to watch it again. And Patrick, remember one? This is when our old man, he was working security at the hospital when he wasn't on
Mhm.
duty, and like some guy was selling like VHS tapes out of the back of his car, and like he had heat. And I said, like, you have to get me heat. Like you have to get me heat. And
So
before you can
sketchy.
like buy it, and I had the VHS, and I watched it often.
Yeah.
And it was this thing where the first time I saw it, I didn't think I need to watch it again. The first time I saw The Dark Knight, I needed to watch it again. I needed to see it again, right? And that's not how I felt about Heat, but anytime I thought about it or was the opportunity to watch it, I wanted to watch it again immediately. And this morning, I put it on thinking I would just kind of like listen to it because I've seen it so many times. And no, I sat down for 3 hours. I couldn't believe it. Like the moment it started, like, oh, I'm just doing this. And I should know at this point that I shouldn't be fooled by this film. That if it's on, there's no stopping it from being watched. um, all that to say that, just to go back to, Macaulay's character, whether or not it's true, he has an idea that he wants something more.
Hmm. Yeah, and I believe that. Although I part of me feels like it's a little bit of a like a trope, like the con artist or the whoever, some sort of like brusque character that really is sensitive inside and wants to stop and has potential. And I don't know how much of a like a fantasy that is.
I think that's what's so beautiful about the movie, or that man does so well, is he takes the trope and he brings it into reality. Because you see with Neil, like, does he really want it, or does he just know that's the next move? Like, you don't feel like he
Right.
really wants it. He's just more like kind of going through life, taking what he wants
Yeah.
in those
Or
moments.
he's trying it out. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what if I found a woman I could go away with her and wouldn't that be nice?" But I don't really believe that he's committed to that. He's committed to
Yeah.
her, and don't get me started on her. We'll talk about. I know we could talk about her now, or we could talk about her
Let's yeah,
later,
let's,
but
let's talk about
that
Amy
Yeah,
whole
let's talk about
Renee.
it
thing
now.
drove
Let's talk
me
about Edie.
crazy. Edie.
Get
Okay,
her
well,
there.
first of all, I thought she was like a plant. That would have been more interesting if she was like, in like with the cops and she was like
Well,
sitting at
he
the
he thought
diner
he
to like
thought he
set up.
thought that too. He had your same.
Right. Right. And then like I realized, okay, no, she's just a legit person. But like the whole turnaround where she's initially, when she finds out what he's done, and then she initially is like terrified of him and tries to run off the Hollywood Hills, away from him. And then he's like keeping her hostage. And then she's like, well, I'll just go away with him anyway, and this will be great. I don't know. I just did not buy this person that was so terrified of him would actually want to go with him. It didn't work for me. And that kind of, yeah, ruined the end for me.
When I was 13 and I watched this, I bought that she wanted to go away with him. But
Hmm.
watching it this time, I was like, she looks scared up until the point. Like when they're at the hotel, she looks
Hmm.
scared. I was like, I didn't feel like she was captivated by him. I felt like she was uneasy and scared and uncertain as to what to do. Like, I thought,
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like the film is telling you, like, she
yeah.
has decided she actually loves him and wants to be with him. I don't feel like she's actually afraid in the car. Otherwise, she would have, like, run off when he went up to the hotel, I feel like. But she's waiting, and then he deserts her. And she's like, wait, what? Why are you? And that is, like, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I just didn't believe that she would be so afraid of him and then be like, actually, let's do this. I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
like I don't think that she was like, I don't think she felt captive, but I don't think she made a turn like I love him. Like, I don't think it was like Bella and the Beast. I think that I think she was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do and I'm uneasy this whole time. She seemed like she was smitten with him throughout the entire relationship. His like presentation didn't really deviate. I don't think like he never like sold her a promise of a better life. He just was
Hmm.
like, this is what it is. You're either with me or not. And then she was like, kind of caught in caring about this guy. And do I go on this, journey with him?
Well, what she says is, like, can I leave? He says, leave now. And then she says, can I leave later? and he doesn't answer,
I
which
also
means
don't understand what that is supposed to mean.
I
Can I
mean, well,
leave
for
later?
him,
Like, can you give me the day to think about it? I don't know. I
no, I
just
think what
think
that
I
means
don't
is,
know.
let's say we get to our location and it's not working out. Will you let me
Okay.
leave? And he doesn't
Right. But if
answer
she's that afraid that
because
she's going to keep him hostage, why would you go to New Zealand with him?
he
I just,
doesn't, and also he doesn't answer because the answer is no. No, you can't.
right. Yeah.
Once you go, you know where I am. You cannot leave.
Right. And she just saw on TV all this crazy shit that he did. And she's just like, wait, is that you? I don't know. I just can't. Just run and get away from him. Like, I just feel like I get what they're trying to say. And it is sad. Like, I feel like that whole end scene in the car, it's like sad when he's walking away from her and she's like, oh, fuck, like he's leaving me. But I didn't feel like that character was fleshed out enough. Like, I just didn't buy that that same person would feel those different ways. And so that it just felt like, I don't know. It was all just like for him to have someone to, that point that he makes is like you have to be ready to leave at any point. And so there was somebody that he could do that to at the end, and you're like, oh my God, that's so sad.
If you compare her to the Ashley Judd character, like
Hmm.
Ashley, like many women in man films are underwritten, right? And
You're
I
talking
and
about
I
Michael Mann. Are
actually,
you talking about Michael Mann, like
yeah,
Mann, or are you saying like
Mann,
women
Mann.
in man films?
Women in a
Like,
man's world.
The
yeah,
Thief is
Streets of
quite
Fire.
similar. Thief parallels this so very well. I did watch Thief the other night, and then I watched Heat, and they are, like, to borrow a phrase from Macaulay, like the flip side of the coin, right? They complement each other very, very well, and they're saying two different things regarding the protagonist in Thief and the antagonist in Heat. And I feel even bad calling Macaulay an antagonist, however we want to refer to him. One of the two protagonists in Heat. But Ashley Judd's character is underwritten as well. However, whether it's Judd herself or the relationship dynamics, like, she doesn't feel underwritten. Like, there are times
Hmm.
where characters in man films are underwritten, and that's okay because what they're showing provides a full character, and he does that intentionally. That characters can be underwritten, yet what they're showing offers us so much more than if they were considered the full-fledged character based on their dialogue and or screen time. So she's
Hmm.
underwritten yet feels like a full character. We understand her conflict, we understand her story. That scene with Michael T. Williams at the safe house is fantastic. I mean, ever since I first saw the film, when she says, "What else are you selling?" All kinds of shit. But but I don't need to because this shit sells itself, right? Amazing line. Like, there are lines in this film where I would never forget the moment I hear them.
Yeah, I loved that scene, and I agree that Ashley Judd works for me because for some reason it makes more sense that she would be with him. Like their relationship made sense to me, and I liked all of what she was going through in that last scene, like that she's thinking about giving him up and then not, and the whole when they are on her face and they're looking out the window and seeing if they catch him. Like I thought all that was really good, and she has something to lose. Like it makes sense. It makes more sense
Yeah.
why she's making the decisions she's making, and that it's complex and it's complicated. The other woman, I just did not buy their decision making, and I felt like it was just too easy.
Yeah, like Ashley Judd, similar to Kilmer, commands a presence, can communicate so much with a look, but like the way that they develop that relationship, even in that safe house scene where you get an understanding, like, okay, these two people have been with each other since they were kids. Like
Hmm.
they've been in and out of the system. This is their bond. Similar, like Chris's relationship with Charlene is similar to Chris's relationship with Neil. And that really tells you a lot about this character, and you feel for him in a moment where right up until that point, you're like, I don't care about this person. And to your point, Michael, like you see through Ashley Judd, Charlene, that through her reaction, you care more about Chris, right? So like she's written to accent
Hmm.
him, but you see their relationship in such like in few moments so deeply. For me, I'm like, when are we getting that CW show? You know, like forget the summer I turned pretty. Let's get a show about Chris and Charlene
Oh,
growing up in the 80s in the system, like I would watch
yeah,
that,
I would
right?
watch that. You should develop that. Well, they're
We're
making a
due.
Heat too. Is this real? I mean, I'm looking at the
Well,
IMDb,
yeah,
or has that been in
Man
development
is
forever?
No,
Man
the book.
is the book is so Man released a book about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's two narratives at once. It's a prequel where it's young Macaulay and young Hannah, and then it's a sequel where it's Chris's journey after the moments where Heat
Hmm,
ends. And yeah,
interesting.
Man's been trying to make it, whether this is his casting or it's stunt casting by fans, but there's this idea that people would love it if Oscar Isaacs played young Pacino and I can't believe Adam
Well,
Driver played young Macaulay.
Yeah, and they show Austin Butler as being on for Chris, which I think is pretty
That's
good
pretty. That
casting.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick's rolling
I
his
just
eyes.
So,
No one's gonna replace
yeah
Kilmer,
no.
and I agree with
yeah
you, Patrick. I mean,
Yeah.
Kilmer is. I mean, 95 was his year. June
yeah
95, Batman Forever. December, Pete, and then just 2 years earlier was Tombstone.
Tombstone. Yeah, no, of course. And then Ghost in the Darkness, The Saint. We just were like,
Yeah,
it
well,
was
The Saint,
Well,
Ghost in the Darkness. We're eating well, but then The Saint is when it all comes toppling down.
we're eating well.
The
that's
Saint is
that
when
is
it all
blasphemy.
comes toppling down.
No way.
Uh, and look, I enjoy The Saint. I do. Philip Noyce, great director, right? Good director.
Well,
Um,
you haven't seen the documentary Val, right?
no, I haven't.
Because
Oh,
like
I think
it
I did
really.
see that. I
Well,
think I
let me
saw
know if I'm
that.
wrong, Leah. When they get to the Saint, it's kind of like Val Kilmer was like, after Batman, I just wanted to like go nuts. Like there was like too
Yeah,
much.
that is
There
kind
was
of
so
what
much.
it seemed like.
But
Yeah,
The
that
Saint,
was interesting.
The Saint is nuts. Like
Yeah.
his disguises are insane. Like they do not work, and I can't turn away. I mean, I saw it in the movie theater, and there are moments that I vividly remember. It's just one of those. I would love for that to come out on 4K. Paramount released it on Blu-ray like 2 years ago. If it came out on 4K, I'd pick it up and I'd have a blast watching it, right? But
Yeah.
basically, you have the Ghost in the Darkness, which I love. But then after that, I believe he was
Oh, Island of
researching
Dr.
Ghost.
Moreau. How are we not talking about the Island of Dr. Moreau?
Oh, that poor director. I think he vowed never to make a movie
Oh
again
my
due
God.
to those two lunatics
Yeah.
between Kilmer on the set doing his Godfather impression, and
Not
And then
mocking Brando,
Brando.
because Brando was
yeah,
This is
doing
the
his
one that
Brando
Brando
impression.
is in?
Yeah,
yes.
and then Brando. Yeah, both of them made the
Yeah.
directors like, I'm done with this.
Who was the director?
Oh,
Do we know? I haven't seen any of these
I saw
movies, by the
that in the
way.
movie theater too.
Didn't Frankenheimer was attached to it, right? Or at some point, wasn't he a part of it and then he left? Or was he?
Maybe he ended up being the final director.
Yeah.
The other guy quit.
And the guy from Northern
Oh my God.
Exposure, he was a nightmare too, but not in a fun way.
David Thewlis was the lead, which is
Yeah.
insane, Leah.
Wait, who was the lead?
Frankenheimer took over,
Yeah.
and then Richard Stanley, I believe that's the guy who started it
Huh.
Yeah.
and was like, I'm out of here.
I don't blame him. Yeah, Brando at the end of his career was a nightmare.
And Brando was always a nightmare. I
Yeah.
mean, just like in Mutiny on the Bounty,
Yeah.
of course, there's oh, you talk big, whatever, blah blah blah. But Mutiny on the Bounty, they made these special hats for him to wear, and they were costly and they were difficult to make. And at the end of every day of shooting, Brando would take the hat and throw it out to sea.
Of course.
If I was at there, I mean, I would have thrown him
Yeah.
off of the boat, just thrown him right off the
Yeah.
boat.
Well, I think that was the movie that he first started using cue cards before he went to the ear, getting his
The earpiece.
Yeah, the earpiece.
He was the worst in the score. In the
Oh,
score,
yes.
Patrick, you know this, right? He not only did have an
Oh.
earpiece, he would not allow
Frank
Frank Oz to
Oz.
direct him. He called him Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
And De Niro had to secretly De Niro would feed him direction
Hmm.
that Oz would feed De Niro to feed Brando. Like, why even just yeah,
Yeah.
anyway. But Richard Stanley directed, which I haven't seen, and I really want to see, The Color of Space and Time, which I heard rules. That's recent with Nicolas Cage and Jolie Richardson. But he hadn't made a movie in a while after Dr. Moreau drove him nuts. And he worked with someone who's a little crazy, but in a fun way, Nicolas Cage, and completed the movie.
Leah, I was such a big Val Kilmer fan.
I can tell.
I had the Island of Dr. Moreau cutout that was like that they had at the multiplex.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I
You
brought it
steal
home. They were
it?
like, no, I was like, can I have that? They were like, yeah.
Right. No one has ever asked us about that.
You're right. No one was gonna ask us, and the fact that you are asking, like, you need this,
Right.
kid.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That was amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I know we're jumping around. I caught it this time and I didn't catch it. This is the first time I caught it when he finds Portman in the tub, right?
Oh,
And he's
wait. We can't jump to that quick. We were still on Edie, I thought. We went
all right. Oh, right. You're right. Right.
because
Leah doesn't
Yeah.
like Edie, and you're making a point. You're defending Edie, right, Patrick?
I'm not going to defend Edie. I'm just saying I think that Edie's relationship, I think if I'm gonna defend Mann, when he writes Edie, I think he's writing the message of don't get fooled by this guy. This guy is not going to sail off to a happy ending.
Right.
There's no like, let's not romanticize. And like, because Edie would be the audience's perspective of a romantic version of him.
Right. And
You know,
I
like
think maybe you're right. Maybe Edie is supposed to be that. We're not supposed to believe that she is. And yeah, first of all, I don't dislike Edie. I dislike the writing of it. But yeah, I agree that I think maybe there's something like they're trying to say something.
And I
Also,
think
my mom
man,
was
Well, ever
saying
since
that
I've
he's
known,
very sentimental. Like when I was like, this whole thing doesn't work, and he's like, man's very sentimental. So, this is a lot him being like,
he's
he's
trying.
trying to like, there's has got to be like a love story, and
He
he's trying to be better, and she's so nice and all that.
and he is trying to write Edie well in that, right? There are these scenes where she's she's sharing stories, and those stories she's sharing are supposed to justify why she's in this relationship, right? Like
Right.
there is he's trying to create reasons for her to be there to tell this story, right? And I would agree that it's important that she's there, right? For the finale to happen in the way that Mann wants it to happen, for him to tell the story that he wants to tell, right? She
Hmm.
talks about how she says she's awkward, right? She says that she has tried to meet people and it just
Hmm.
doesn't work, right? That skiing retreat she went on where singles go to meet people,
Yeah.
right? Like and even when she introduces herself to him, I mean, it's amazing they get past that. It's like, lady, what do you want? What do you want from me, lady? Like I would have died. I
Right.
just would have died right then
Yeah.
and there. Like the fact that she continued talking to him.
Yeah.
I just first of all, the fact also, I think I think he's a handsome man. Midnight Run, right? We talked about Midnight Run. So
Hmm.
handsome, right? I was in love with him.
you get
And
to,
in this
Yeah.
I've
movie,
heard,
when they kiss in this movie, I cringe. He is the like he must Neil McCauley must looks like the worst kisser in the history of film. Like nothing about that looks appealing in any way. It looks hard and rough and scary.
Well, he is, and maybe that was intentional. I mean, he's a great actor. But yeah, no, it's true. It's like he's trying to be like soft and nice, but there's something like it's not working like between the two of them. Like said, something just feels off, even though you almost want it to work. And I don't know if that's intentional, if it's just like something is the chemistry's off. But
and it's
yeah,
got to be
it's
hard
like
because Leah, you're a he. Just Leah just
I
made a face.
can't. I'm
Leah
ready
made the
for it.
face. You already could see where it's coming
Oh
from.
God.
But like for the long time, you were the hugest Judge and Amy fan, right? Like you were
Who?
Judge and Amy.
It's
Oh,
Amy Brenneman's
is that
CBS
the
TV show.
is that the Ben Affleck movie?
No, it's a
Oh,
TV
that's
show.
Chasing Amy.
It's Chasing Amy. That's the Kevin Smith
Close
movie
enough.
starring Ben Affleck. Judging
Oh my
Amy
God.
was
I
a
don't even know
CBS.
what that
It was a
is.
CBS hour-long procedural. Was Time Daly her mom in that? Where she was a judge, and it's like family dynamic
Oh,
things. And
okay.
the son, I think the
Picket
son
fences.
from Birdcage, was like it's like a director
Oh
now or a writer
yeah.
now. He was in it. I think that he was in it too.
That sounds
Um,
awful.
and Patrick and I know all these shows like Judging Amy, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, because we watch Saturday morning cartoons, and they would promo these
Okay.
shows when we would watch our CBS Saturday morning cartoons
Yeah.
in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. And every once in a while, I'd watch an episode and I'd have like a cathartic moment.
I
Okay,
didn't do
that's
that,
very
but
sweet.
okay.
So I like Amy Brenneman, and I think she was really good in this. There's just something missing. But yes, I agree. There is like at least an arc there. Um, there's something kind of heartbreaking about it, like that she is very naive and kind of innocent, and that she's just like ripe for the picking. Like something's gonna happen to her. Like he's not the right guy for her. He's gonna, mess with her. Yeah, I look at her face when she has that car door open, and he just like looks at her and just like has to walk away. It's just like, ugh, it's
Yeah.
just bad. It's just, yeah. So
And
it
it
works
works
in that
too,
way.
not just because she's such a good actress, but because you build it up on like that. She's so longing for that type of
Right.
connection. And that's, you know,
Yeah. And it's another lesson of, what they do. Like they just hurt people. They just can't.
yeah.
It's not about other people, and people are going to get hurt along the way. So it doesn't really
Which,
matter.
brings us to arguably the best performance in the film, Natalie
Wayne
Portman.
Co. or whatever his name
Oh,
is.
Wayne Grow.
What's Wayne
Wayne Grow.
Grow?
Wayne Grow.
Okay.
no.
He is a perfect piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
you want him to die. When he gets
Yeah.
shot in the chest, I'm like, yeah, I don't want him shot in the head. I
There it is.
want him to
Aren't
look
we early for the
scared.
moment when Michael celebrates violence? That's
Yeah.
Hey, I don't care. When he gets shot, every time he gets shot in the chest, he's like, I'm like, yeah, fucker. That's right.
He's so ridiculous. But I know, yes, I know where you're going with this, Patrick, because I remember your love of this person. If I'm
Yes.
going where you
Yeah,
think I'm going.
absolutely.
Yeah, no,
It's
Patrick was in love
100%.
with Natalie Portman.
The Natalie Portman.
1995 for in that moment that like and it might be 95, 96, right? Mars Attacks came out in 96.
sounds
Mars
right.
Attacks came out in 96. Yeah, December 96, I believe. I'll check. I'll
Okay.
look it up while we're talking.
That's because in my head they're like together because I might have just been could it have been a year? Like I remember seeing Heat and being like, who is this person? And then
No, you
Oh,
knew her
that was
before
your
then.
intro?
Yeah, it was
It
December
must have
96.
been.
No,
I
you
thought
knew
it
her
was
before.
what was the professional? I thought that was
Yeah,
why
yeah,
it
but
No,
I
he
was
didn't
didn't.
like,
like
He
oh,
wouldn't have seen the professional.
oh.
I didn't
You
see the professional.
definitely. She was on Broadway in the Diary of Anna Frank before
Diary of Anne
95.
Frank. No, 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 no. She was in the Diary of Anne
Anna.
Frank
Who's Anna
in like
Frank?
90,
Yeah, I say
98.
Anna Frank.
Anna
Anna
Frank.
Frank.
Oh, is that how? Oh, the actual
Diary of Anna
Yeah, I
Frank.
pronunciation.
don't.
Wow.
Let's not do
Okay.
this. But like, so just so the viewers know, when I was 13 and I saw Natalie Portman in Heat, I developed a huge crush on Natalie Portman, which is something that one day, if I can afford a decent
Okay,
enough
I'm sorry.
therapist, I'll
December
work through.
97, Patrick. December
Oh my God.
97 was it? What it would play it at the Music Box Theater. We
Yeah,
went to go see it,
Oh, you saw
and
it on Broadway?
we
yeah, 'cause
did
I had a
first row.
massive crush.
You know what? I feel
First
like I
row.
might have
Patrick was
seen it
having a
Not
heart
first,
attack the whole
not
time.
first row. We were close.
Oh
No,
my
we were
God.
in the second row. It was
Yeah, yeah.
the two theatrical moments where Patrick was the most nervous, sweating the most was Sesame Street on Ice, first two rows,
Yeah.
and and
I don't even remember that. I would say Muppet Babies
and the
Live.
Diary of Anna Frank on Broadway, at the Music Box Theater. I remember that one, and then like shortly thereafter we saw Christopher Walken in The Dead on Broadway, and during his big finale, his big musical finale, he had a really horrible cough, and he coughed throughout the entire. He couldn't
Oh
get rid
my
of it
God.
throughout the big
Oh
musical finale,
no.
and that was better than not having him cough. It's like, hey, it's Broadway, baby. This is what happens in
Yeah,
theater, and
that's
that was amazing.
amazing.
But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah. So so this must have been the one where you fell in love, Patrick.
So
yeah.
this was
It
the
was
Must
movie
have
you
been it.
first saw her in?
yes, yeah. And then Mars
Interesting.
Attacks. I was like, oh man, it's the woman
The
from
woman.
Heat.
She was like 13.
We were the
Yeah,
same
Is
age.
there
So like,
and then Queen Amidala, he
Oh
was
my
all in. That
God.
was it.
Wait,
no,
but
no,
was
I was
this
all in. I
before
was.
Beautiful Girls?
This is around time of Beautiful Girls, but I
Okay.
saw Beautiful Girls like on VHS. But
Okay.
in fairness, so like this is
Well,
I was all in way before Star Wars Episode One.
and the
Yeah, that was a
Beautiful
lot
Girls,
later.
Beautiful Girls was so unrealistic because if that, a more realistic film would have been Timothy Hutton actually trying to date Natalie Portman.
He because he's a
Look him
creep.
up.
Yeah,
Is he
yeah.
really?
Oh yeah, yeah, big time.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Anyway,
That's sad.
yeah,
Well, he
so
did try to date. I mean, basically, that's what
yeah. He
that movie
did. That's what the whole movie
is.
was.
It's
I think
very
it's. I
strange
think it
in
was like pretty
retrospect.
much. But yeah, Michael. I think you need to take the ED glasses off and watch that movie
Oh
and see
my
it for what it
God.
is.
Yeah.
okay, well, so maybe he does. Maybe he does. But I thought he makes the right decision and doesn't do it at the end. Um, Whatever.
I think the producers did.
Let's yeah,
Yeah,
right,
I mean
right.
they didn't actually, but it's weird. It's definitely he had like a crush on her and she's
Yeah.
like 12 in the movie. It's
And
very
for the
strange.
record, Natalie Portman and I are the same age. So I was like
Okay,
13
she was a
being like,
woman to
oh,
you. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
You know,
I'll
Patrick, no
accept
one's
it.
saying your crush on Natalie Portman was problematic in any way.
No, it
No.
was
But my wife
very
would say it's
appropriate.
problematic now because like
You still love her.
5 years ago, I got a Save the Children email like from Natalie Portman. It was like, hey, Patrick, it's Natalie Portman here.
Patrick said it's happening. It's finally happening.
And I kept it.
Oh, that's sad.
Wow.
That's really sad.
Or it's awesome.
Nope, it's sad.
God. I get those emails too, by the way, but I don't save them.
From Natalie Portman?
Yeah.
No, you get it from
or
Amy
that what was the
Brenneman.
other no.
Oh no,
Nothing to
just-
do with Amy Brenneman. Well, but she works for another agency. What is it like? Anyway, there was some agency that Natalie Portman does a lot of work for. That's like I forget what
She's-
it is.
She's
But
an incredible human being. That's
yeah,
why she
she's
does
a
a lot of.
humanitarian.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've donated to this whatever the organization is. I now forget, but
Yes,
anyway, I get emails from
Natalie
them,
Portman
too.
is wonderful.
Yes, we all love Natalie Portman.
Yes, no
Yeah.
one's going to
You
argue
no
that fact.
wrong.
So
And
when
if I
she
see that,
when
if I
she
see that bastard in the street that
Which
did not
one?
respect
Oh,
her,
her
and they're married-
father.
not her
Oh,
father, I
that.
don't know.
Oh, or her husband, her actual husband.
her ex-husband, her
Her
ex-husband.
ex-husband. Right,
oh
right.
really?
Yes.
They're divorced?
He
I didn't know that.
cheated on her.
He cheated on her.
Allegedly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. With the
Can't trust
dancer.
those. You
That's
can't trust
Michael.
those
It's what we
dancers.
always say. You never. Did you just say it? I'm sorry. I
You
talked
can't
over
trust
you.
those dancers.
I literally was just gonna say that. You cannot trust male
Wow.
dancers. Put it here. Come at me.
my
Hit me in the
God.
chat. You cannot trust male dancers.
Wow. That's a hot take. Why? Where did this come from? This idea?
They think they're hot shit.
Yeah, that's where we'll talk
Wow.
offline.
This is
Man,
fascinating.
our Heat episode's getting kind of blue. I've cursed like 3 times. I don't. We haven't cursed.
Michael, when you say you get satisfaction watching somebody get a bullet through the chest, blue is not a category anymore.
Uh, yeah.
But those,
Let's get back to the movie. All right.
sorry, I really have to calm myself down.
When
We can't bring
Lauren
up Natalie
shows up,
Portman. He's gonna get,
when
you know.
when Hannah sees Lauren and he pulls her out of the tub. Anybody remember what he says? Because I've only clocked
No.
it this time. I can't believe it. He says, "What a waste." Like he
Yeah,
pulls her out of the
No.
tub and he is,
I did catch
what a
that.
waste. Assholes
Yeah.
shoot themselves all day, but not you. As he's ripping the towels, right? As he's ripping the towels and he's wrapping her up. Like, what a
Mm-hmm.
waste.
Yeah.
There is a sadness to him, which I think is perfect for like, I mean, Pacino just looks sad, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there is a sadness to him and a compassion to him that threads the film. And there is a kind of a respect that I think Mann is married, right? Mann has a family, so he's not saying, right, like let's not have families, right? I think that there is a real respect for someone who is compelled to do something good. There is the best film that has done this in the 21st century. I may have said this before on the podcast, but I say it often. What Moonlight is amazing for so many reasons, but what for me the first time watching it, what I loved about the Mahershala Ali character is that he sees this kid that no one loves, and he only loves him because no one else loves him. He chooses to love him for no other reason other than no one else loves him. And it's necessary for everyone to feel loved, right? People who make choices when there's nothing in it for them, they may feel good about it, they may get something out of it, right? But they'd be fine not doing it if it wasn't necessary. And I think Mann has quite a few characters like that who make choices like that. And I'm always compelled by those characters. And I think that's a through line in many Mann films.
Hmm.
And Hannah in particular.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different ways that this family could have been shown on film and created. And I think the fact that Lauren, Natalie Portman's character, is so neglected is very intentional. One of the things that we were talking about a lot is how in these core characters, whether it's Chris, Vincent, Neil, they are driven by their agenda, and we see the casualties around them, and they're not genuinely connected to anything or anybody. And you could see like with Vincent, like it's because of it, it's a consequences of his job. Like he wants, maybe arguably he wants to be connected and pulled in, but like you see the impact of being disconnected on a family. Like when you have a family that is void of like an emotional bond, like what occurs. And I think that that's what we're watching. I don't know. That's one of the things I was observing. Like what is going on with this kid? Why is this kid like this? Why is she acting out this way? There's a million ways that she could have been like communicating to the audience her pain and her like negligence, or not her negligence, but how she was neglected. But to have it culminate in this way, I think is just it's like something that Mann's trying to communicate about the way that these relationships throughout the movie are.
And I think Mann has compassion for Diane Verona's character too, the mom, right? I mean, like we mentioned earlier, right? In the morning, she's reading the paper, she's in her own world, right? But when Lauren starts getting very, very upset, she puts the paper down, she gets upset, like, we'll figure it out, I promise. And I buy, right, the mother's love, right? There are lots of mistakes mom is making, right? But I do think in those moments that she, not just in those moments, that she wants her daughter to be okay. She's not okay, and she wants her daughter to be okay, right?
But she does a thing, Leah, you could probably help me out with this. Like she does a thing that moms do, or that people do, that is really damaging to kids. Like it's not until there's a crisis, until she's like having the full-blown panic that she pays any attention. Like she's not meeting her in the middle to be like, hey, we
Mhm.
need to make sure this is a priority to me because it's a priority to you. She's only responding to the crisis, which is like communicating the message to the character, like I can only act in a crisis. That's the only way I'm
Mhm.
going to get my needs met.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like her response in that scene is a telling one because she's really like ignoring her daughter. Like she's hearing her be in distress and she's only really acknowledging it when she's like, "Mom, like listen to me, like I'm freaking out." Yeah, and it just makes you feel like she is being neglected. Like something like the mom is too distracted by other things to really pay attention to her. And I think that scene's there for a reason because I think that is what's going on in the home is that everyone's sort of they're dealing with their own shit and they're clearly not okay. The mom is clearly unhappy because of, I guess, things that we find out later about her marriage or whatever. She's not really happy. Her husband's not home. And so she's not really present for the daughter. And the daughter is just like on her own. The dad's not present. It like doesn't seem like people are home a lot. Like I don't know what the mom does, but you don't really see them together. So yeah, it's like you said, a casualty. Like the Natalie Portman character is like a perfect example of the casualties that occur with people who are just driven and not really responsible for the people they're supposed to be. Not that he's really responsible for her, but it's just all like a trickle down effect, I think. But it's just sad because it's just there's a lot of casualties. Everyone basically is a casualty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dennis Haysbert.
Dennis Haysbert, right? Right. Like that scene with
Yeah.
like Bud Court, right?
Oh,
Harold.
but of course.
You know,
Yes.
When
Harold shows
Harold's
up.
basically, I get 25% of your take home. I want to cry.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
line that like where he's like talk to your parole officer. He knows the drill, right? Like
Yeah.
just death. Like
Yeah.
Haysbert has such a small part to play in this film, and he looms so large because it's so painful. Like the way that he feels trapped,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
And I feel
and
like this
his
film is
girlfriend
a
too.
Yeah, no, I just feel like this film may be ahead of its time in addressing those things. Like, I don't know how many other films were talking about like parolees and the difficulty of, reentry and I don't know. I mean, this was like
And
30 years ago. I mean, now it's such a topic, but then
and
I
in
don't know
such
if that
a
was.
compassionate way, like in such a real way. That's like I think a lot of what Michael was saying before about Man. Like there's so many characters in this film, and you empathize with all of them, or at least, or you like disdain them. Like
Right,
they're
Right.
right.
real
Or you want them
people,
to like like okay, Pat just gonna laugh at me, right? Van Sant when he
or
gets
you
those
want them to get a
bullets,
bullet through the
when
chest.
when Van Sant dies, I'm not feeling bad for him. I'm laughing when
No.
he's living in his office. He's like, I've been living my office day and night. I'm like, I'm laughing. I am laughing at him.
But
And Henry
you can't
Rollins
laugh.
gets
You can't laugh at him because when you say that, just I want to go back, Eugene. I don't know if we can like we'll probably get sued because this podcast is blowing up. I always think of when you laugh when somebody gets shot. I always think of the scene with old Biff in Back to the Future 2 when he's like,
well, bulletproof
"Great
vest,
fucking flick, great freaking
bulletproof
flick."
vest, bulletproof
Oh
vest.
my God.
Party's over, ladies.
Oh my God.
That's fine. You can compare me to old Biff in distorted 1985 Back to the Future, which we are all currently living in.
Which you are
So,
living in,
so
right?
way to bring that up.
I'm
Um,
not. I'm talking about a classic movie. We're all living in it because the Cubbies finally won the World Series.
that's right.
I don't
That's
know what
right.
you're talking about.
The Cubbies did
Oh.
finally win the World Series, though we are behind on a few Jaws films. Um, as you were saying, Patrick, there is compassion for most people in the film, and those we don't have compassion for, man doesn't have compassion for them either because their chest becomes Swiss cheese.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But look, can we just go back to Dennis Haysbert?
Yeah, and
Um,
Lily. Let's
Yes.
talk about Lily for a moment because she rules.
Lily is his
His girlfriend.
girlfriend.
Yeah,
His girlfriend.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that scene was heartbreaking in the beginning when she's like, "I'm
Yeah.
proud of you,"
Devastating.
and
I'm
then like
proud
Yeah.
of
when
you.
she's like
Yeah.
watching the news. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. The scene when she says she's proud of him, it's amazing,
Yeah.
right? And then when she's at the bar and it's devastating, just so devastating.
Yeah, because it's so easy to slip up like that. Like, one offer, one bad job, I think it shows like how that split second he's just like, should I stay here or should I just give it all up? Like, is it even worth it? And you see how that happens. It's so easy to do that because there isn't a lot of opportunity for people and they don't make it easy for you. Like, your
Right.
employer isn't saying like, how can I help you succeed? They're like, oh, I'm gonna get some for myself. And I feel like, yeah, I just think it was interesting they were talking about this then. Maybe
Right.
people were talking about it,
And
but
Bud Cort's culpable, right? And then
yeah,
you go back to the scene with Michael T. Williams, right, and Ashley Judd, where he goes, look, we all know what happens, right? Your kid, right? Like, your kid goes into the system, we know what happens. We have to deal with the adult that comes out of the system. And it's
yeah,
unfair to the kid who goes in, but we have to deal with the adult who comes out. Chris is the adult who comes out, who made his choices. Your son hasn't been put in the system yet, so why don't you save him from that? Right? Like
yeah.
What's
the
his son's
film
name?
is
He's got a great
Dominic.
name. What's Dominic? That's it.
Yeah, it is a great name.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The film is full of great names. Like we just said,
Yeah.
Lily. What a great effing name,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I feel bad that I forget Haysbert's name. And
I don't
I
remember.
love how Sizemore's character, right? I love how he calls Wingrow slick. That's the thing
Mhm.
where Tone Loc, right, says the slick's no motherfucking joke, right? And and just like that, right? That's the thing that puts Pacino onto them, right? And Hannah's
Mhm.
like, tell me more about the slick. Very excited, right? The dialogue in Mann films, right? Like you can repeat it all day long, right? That's why this guy wanted to do a podcast just on Heat alone. And when I was watching Thief, it was like I could read a book. I can literally read this screenplay, right? Day after day after day. Like the language, the dialogue, the speeches Khan gives, they're unbelievable, right? And they parallel so very much with Heat. Um, let's talk about the diner scene. The use of the one thing I was watching this time is all the cops in the city of LA. Every cop in that city knows who knows who Al Pacino is, knows who Hannah is. He's running through at the end when he's chasing McCauley with his gun, and he grabs the rifle from that cop. How does that cop know who he is? Like everybody, they all just know who he is. Like, give me that shotgun. Like, yes, Captain, or whatever they call him. Yes, sir. So I love the scene. Right, he comes home. Right, he goes to do the dishes, comes home. She's going out. He's like, all right, well, I'm home. I might as well do some chores. He turns on the sink, right? He turns it off and he goes out. And the next thing you know, he's in a helicopter, right? I mean, this guy, like, the world is set up where he has all of the resources. And when John Voight is going through his file, right? Marine Corps, graduate school, right there, like these are the two things that he lists for De Niro to know the kind of adversary he has before him, and he has all the resources available to him. Gets in a helicopter, gets out of the helicopter. The music during that scene is unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
Elliot
Mhm.
Goldenthal,
Yeah.
who Patrick
It
did.
wasn't just
It's
what
incredible.
Elliot
he
Goldenthal did the score for Batman Forever a few months
and
before.
Alien 3.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah.
he did Alien 3.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
he's awesome. But the score is just, it's such a man score, but it's like, it's not just uh Elliot Goldenthal.
yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like also like Brian Eno did a track. Like there's a lot of like new wave artists,
Well, of
post-punk new
course.
wave, and like just in there, like that create that aesthetic and like certain things. Like the Brian Eno track is
Yeah.
like so good. But yeah, I was like paying attention so heavily to the score this time.
It is phenomenal, right? So that scene, like that score that's playing, where he gets in the car, he's chasing him, he's following him down. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Right? Where is he? Right? Gets out of the car. Let me buy you a cup of coffee. Yeah, okay. And then they're just sitting there, right? And he would come up often when I mentioned I was jogging with this philosophy professor, and he took issue with we would talk about Heat. He took issue with the line, when Pacino says, you never wanted a regular type life, right? And De Niro says, what's that, barbecues and ball games, right? And he says it kind of condescendingly, right? And this professor would say, I like barbecues, I like ball games, but I read that line not, you can like barbecues and you can like ball games. It's not what he's saying, right? I think it's this idea of man's characters, right? And what connects someone like Pacino and De Niro is that they're searching for something outside the norm and they're not content. They are searching for something. It's not just about how much one can get. It's not just about, like, for someone like the Sizemore character, right? It's the adrenaline rush, right? That will always make him happy. Like Pacino's not going to have a conversation with Sizemore. He's not going to have a conversation with Chris either. And De Niro and Chris, probably they're bonded, but they probably could say nothing to each other for weeks at a time, just sit next to each other, and that's their
Mhm.
relationship, right? I think that line, this regular type life, I don't think it's insulting someone who might be considered to have a regular type life. I think it's this idea of questioning going along to get along.
It's almost like existential. Like I feel like they're having like an existential conversation about what they
I
want for
I
themselves.
think they are because again, right? The one Pacino, right? I'm pretty sure Pacino's character. I'm pretty sure Hannah has been to ball games and has been to barbecues. Like that scene when they're all out together, right?
Hmm.
Dancing. Like that is that he's playing in the regular type life. When De Niro goes off to New Zealand and is hanging out, I'm pretty sure that maybe he will, embrace, like he's trying to be involved in some kind of community. When he says barbecues and ball games, I do think what they're referencing is life without thought.
Without
I don't know if
thought?
I
Patrick's
agree with
Patrick's
that.
What
rolling
do you
his
mean
eyes
by
at me.
that?
Yeah, he said life without thought. Like he's saying like when you say
Like
life
without
without thought,
thinking about what you're doing? Like people that just sort of go about their routine and they don't think about like what's my life meaning to
life
me or
Yeah,
to
without
anyone
maybe,
purpose.
yeah,
else?
yeah, maybe going about my routine, and I know, you're thinking about the world at large or consequences,
Hmm.
or being not I mean because De Niro's character would be content in this, but I do think it involves this larger question of just thinking beyond what's on the surface. When he says barbecues and ball games, I do think he's talking about just a surface type life.
And who's saying that? Is that
I,
Pacino that says that? De
No,
no,
Pacino
Niro.
it's
asks him,
yeah.
"Do you want a regular?" He never
Okay.
thought about
He's
having a regular type life, and he said, "What's that? Barbecues and ball games."
Okay. I feel like for De Niro, when he says that, I mean, if he's the one that says, because I can buy Pacino, it's like I want to do something different, sort of dark, like not the norm, like you said. But for somebody like De Niro, I mean, he is committing crimes. So it's not like, oh, yeah, like he could find something else to do. So it's almost like a destructive thing. Like somebody has to self-destruct. It's like I can't do something positive. Maybe I hate myself. Maybe I don't like we don't know what he's been through. We don't know anything about his life. I mean, clearly he's been to prison, but he was committing crimes then too. So whatever his past is, I feel like part of what he's doing is like a self-destructive thing.
Well, he says like Pacino asks him like, "Are you self-destructive?" Right? Like I've taken down a lot of guys, right, who just want to go back, right? And De Niro's
Right.
famous line is, "Do you see a
I'll
Born to
never go
Lose?
back.
Do you see me doing thrill seeker liquor store holdups with the Born to Lose tattoo on my chest?"
Oh my
Amazing,
God.
amazing line.
Yeah.
Right. So he wants to see himself as different, right? But at the same time, Leah, I mean, there is this idea that, right, he is making mistakes along the way. He's very good at what he does, and mistakes are being made. Like in this whole film, one, why do they make Wayne Grow part of their crew? That's a mistake right there, right? So you have this guy who's a part of the crew. That's a mistake. They're very good at cleaning up their mistakes, right? They got the Van Sant issue. They're going to sell, right? They're going to sell back the bearer bonds of Van Sant. That's a whole other problem there, right? So there's four jobs. There's the first job, where you got no, there's three jobs. Sorry. There's the first job where you have the wind grow issue. Then you have the Van Zandt issue built on top of it. There's the metal job that they walk away from. They're smart enough to walk away from. And then there's the third job, which just explodes, right? And basically the second and the third job go to shit because of the mistakes of the first job. Right. And maybe they're not mistakes, or maybe they're just that, like, hey, everything is a gamble, right? You can't be perfect at what you're doing. And at the same time, right, for Hannah's character, he just gets lucky all the time. Right. Like when anybody gets lucky, he's very good at what he does, right? But one, the serial raper murder case gets resolved on its own thanks to Neil, right? So he gets lucky in that. One of his snitches reveals who Slick is. That's amazing. And of course, this moves the story along, but you have like these things where shit happens to Macaulay that fucks him up, right? To move the story forward. And then stuff is gifted to Hannah that propels the movie forward as well.
I mean, I don't think it's lucky. I mean, in fairness to the LAPD, I mean, he's working the case. He's like he's going out, he's talking to his like it's not that he didn't get lucky. He was turning over the stones. He
He
was
got a little lucky. It seemed it's a little things just fell in his lap. Like he's talking to that guy, and then he just randomly is like talking about some guy that said slick, and he's like, "Wait, who's that? I mean, yeah,
But
that
And
seemed a
again,
little
and I love that
cheesy.
scene. Like
but
I
he's talking to the
absolutely love it. Like where
CI.
he says this slick, because again, like we're
Right,
told
but what a
like this
random
slick ain't no joke,
connection.
right? I didn't curse that scene, but he does curse, right? And then immediately, like, and it does take, he has to have that intuition to be like, oh, wait a second, or to have that to recall, to have the recall to say,
Right.
let's talk about this for a minute, right? Let's check this
Yeah.
out, right?
And they
I
do establish like early on that he's very thorough and very skilled. So we know like he's
Right.
working hard. But I also think there's
Right.
a little
But he's
like
but he
it's too
established the
easy.
relationship with that CI. I can't believe I'm like defending the
Tone Loc,
logic of
here's
it.
that Albert,
That whole thing though
Albert.
was
Um,
he was really Pacinoing it
yeah.
Oh, of
in
course he
those
was.
scenes.
He's
I mean, it was
He
Pacinoing it in
was.
like,
this.
yeah,
He's
right.
Pacinoing it hardcore in this movie. I think
Yeah.
the one right before this was Carlito's Way, right? And that's
Okay.
a subtle performance. He goes huge for the Oscar for Scent of a Woman. Then Carlito's Way is subtle, and Heat he's big again.
Yeah.
And
He's
but
But I
real
then
also
big in this.
Donnie Brasco is subtle, and so like and then he goes. There's no more subtle. There's not much subtle. Insider, he does Insider with Mann, and that's like subtle, and he goes through waves. He gets loud, but he gets quiet too, and in the Insider. And then at a certain point, maybe post Insider, he just breaks completely and goes and just is always big until The Irishman. That's subtle too.
Hmm.
but they were supposed to I don't know if this is true or not, but was Vincent Hanna supposed to have a cocaine problem?
No, no. Here's what my understanding of it. I don't believe Mann wrote him to have a cocaine problem. I believe Pacino says, "Hey, Michael, I can't make sense of this character other than him having a
Unless he
cocaine
has a cocaine
problem."
problem.
And Mann said, "Yeah, sure, he has a cocaine problem." So that's how Pacino played it.
Huh.
But I don't know if that was Mann's initial intent. Regardless, even if it was, it's not in the film. So
Yeah.
Pacino's playing it like that, but
Right.
Yeah.
he doesn't have a coke
I mean, that
problem.
makes sense with some of the like extra loud things,
Yeah.
but I feel like he could be committed enough without being like on cocaine. Like
Yeah,
he's
no,
just
no,
a guy that's like,
I love him this
Can,
loud, chewing the gum
pavement.
all the time. He's just constant, right? He's just so, he just has all that, like, too much energy, right? And it
Yeah.
is in everything that he's doing. And
And he
also
seems
he's
pretty
allowed,
steady though. He doesn't seem like he's fluctuating and is like emotional or I felt
yeah.
like he was, I don't know.
he's
I
having a good
found
time.
him
He has the power,
reliable.
right? He has the power in the situation. He's in control at all
Hmm.
times. So he gets
Right.
to have fun, right? And like,
So
that's what he's doing. He's messing with people and he
Right.
gets to have fun. He's the one who gets to put his hands on people. He's the one who gets to insult them, right? He's the one to say that Hank Azaria has his head all the way up, right? Ashley Judd's behind.
Yeah.
Right? He's the one that gets to
just
do all
quote the
these
line.
things.
Don't like try to like don't try to like
You can say
cross the line.
ass on the
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, but like he was like trying to be delicate, but it just makes it more creepy. Um
Behind.
Makes him
it's like
more
big
creepy, please.
but like no, I said it more creepy. But that scene, I'm glad that we circled back to it because one of my favorite lines as a kid was who? Who? What are you, a fucking owl? Like that was like if when I was like 15, if somebody said who twice, I was so happy. I was like, yes.
Good. I can say it. Wait, that's actually funny because I had just read an article where Margot Robbie talked about in The Wolf of Wall Street, there's the same line where she was doing it with Leonardo DiCaprio, or he says something like she's asking him about like sleeping with somebody, and then he's like, who? And then she was on set apparently, and one of Leo's friends suggested saying that line, and so she put it in the movie. And then I saw this and I was like, they stole it from this movie.
Yes,
What
they
the
did. Yeah,
hell?
yeah, of course. One of
Classic.
DiCaprio's, right?
Right.
Whatever. And let's not talk
So
about
yeah,
Leonardo
that I
DiCaprio,
was like,
please.
oh my God,
Let's
how did
not
they
bum out
not
a
see
Michael Mann
Heat?
film.
Yeah.
So
Like
anyway,
talking
but
about.
yeah, that line was
Yeah.
fun.
Well, I was because you started with the diner, and I have a take on it on the ball games and barbecues. I agree with you as it pertains to Pacino wanting more, and like what Leo was saying, like chasing and wanting more, and that tracks. I do think like with De Niro, barbecues and ball games, I think that's something that he long ago realized would not be in the cards for him. And I think
Yeah,
that's really what he's speaking to. Like it's more of like a sadness or acceptance. Like that's not my life.
that
Right. He
work
gave
that
up
works
on
too,
it.
right? And but I'm saying it like it's not, and when he's saying it, I don't believe it's an insult to barbecues and ball
Yeah, I
games.
agree with you. I
Right.
agree with
And
you.
that's, and I think like one, a sadness that's not part of my life that he also now has turned into an insult, possibly because he's dismissive of it, right? But something that maybe he would have liked to have had at some point, right? And with Pacino, I think it is existential. And I think there is a sense of self-awareness there. I think it's multiple things because it is as if they are in their own film or their own world, right? Because when they talk about if you're gonna make some poor schmuck's wife a widow, right? Brother, I am taking you down, right? Like
Hmm.
and like whoever that poor schmuck is, Hannah does not see himself on the same level as that guy, right?
Right.
And the movie also doesn't either. In the Farewell to Arms, and maybe I've said this before because it is one of my favorite pieces of literature. The protagonist says, "The world breaks everyone, and afterwards, many are strong at the broken places." Right? He's talking past his experiences in war, and what I love about that piece of dialogue that everyone gets broken and many become strong. Right? That it is not this exclusive thing, only the few. Right? So I
Hmm.
think that in the film, right, these two characters are different, but that doesn't mean that it's only limited to a few, right? That anyone watching can engage existentially with it. And I do think that's part of it with Mann and what's happening in that scene or what's being offered in that scene.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like I could relate to what I'm like, I get it. I don't know if I want ball games and whatever, like it's like I get the idea of, we want something different or we want something bigger or like we want something that we think differently or whatever it is, even though, I don't know, I still have a little bit of a hard time. I like your sort of analysis of the De Niro side because I think that makes more sense to me that he would be saying it's almost like it's like a bygone dream for me rather than it being something that he's avoiding because I think we're sensationalizing the crime aspect of like that's like a good alternative to wanting something simple. And I think it's something else is going on with him that's darker.
Here's what I'm trying to get at. I think it is about we don't have to see the world as it is and accept it. That's completely Hannah. Hannah does not see the world as it is and accepts it. Right. And I think that line about barbecues and ball games, right, is a challenge, right? Because I think there are some folks who see the world as it is and accept it, and they're
Hmm.
content exclusively with whatever
Right.
that line means.
Right. They don't even
Right.
ask, like, they don't even think about, oh, is there a different way of living? They're just like, oh, this is how you live. This is how I should live. And they're thinking differently about it.
And so I don't think it's knocking, right, those things. It's knocking of exclusively being content with a certain way of life and not working for Hannah anyway. Like Hannah is actively working, right, to stop horrible things from happening. And there are people who can do that and there are people who can do that in a variety of different roles in a variety of different ways. Right. And in any life where someone is doing that is not a regular type life. I know that's far beyond, right, what this film is, but I do think that is in the film, particularly with we talk about Haysbert and his character, right? The man's a hero by showing up at work every day. And it's why his girlfriend loves him.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why that scene is so powerful. I mean, why people still talk about it. It's clearly like the most famous scene in the movie because I think there is so many interpretations of it and it sort of outlasts the film itself.
Oh, and it was a
Patrick,
special moment.
go.
Sorry, Michael, you can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I wanted you to tell the scene that your buddy had with Michael Mann in the elevator. I mean
Oh,
the story your
I
buddy
want to see
has.
if you can send a voice note
Well, why
if
don't you
we know how
tell
to
it
do that.
anyway?
Because I forget the line. Now I
I
was
remember
trying to
the
remember the
line.
line. You
I
remember
remember
the
the
line?
line.
So
From what you told me the story, because it's amazing, right?
yeah,
So
so my friend Eric, who's a actor in LA, doing PA work and was working with Mann, and I might have shared this before in like an earlier episode, or maybe it was just when we were talking. There was one job where he was driving around. Mann was doing like a Ferrari commercial, and he was driving Mann around while Mann was like holding the camera, and he was like kept yelling at him. They were on the Pacific Coast Highway, and I hope I'm getting this right, Eric. They're on the Pacific Coast Highway, and he keeps like yelling at him, like faster, faster. And he's like, Eric's a big guy, and he's just like sweating bullets, like I'm gonna kill Michael Mann because Michael Mann keeps
I
telling him
you
to drive
said
the car faster.
you said
Yeah,
Eric said man was in the trunk, like with the cam
like hanging out. Yeah,
with
like
the hang
hanging out of the
with the
Viet.
camera shooting out.
Yeah,
Oh,
But this was
but then
before
they
I
were
think
in
this
the
was before they worked together.
yes,
He
yeah,
saw
yeah.
him in an elevator.
So I'm in an elevator, and he said like looked at him and he goes, I forget the quote. What was the line?
So Eric says something like, I mean, I remember the man line verbatim as you told it to me, but
Yeah.
Eric basically says something like,
Oh, wait, I got
Mr.
this.
Man,
He's like, Mr.
I'm
Man.
sorry to bother you, but that scene in Heat where De Niro's talking about like that if you see the heat, around the corner, right, that you drop
Yeah.
anything in 30 seconds flat, right? That's like he's like, I just love that line. And like
He's
and
like,
he said, and
and
Eric said,
I
man,
just want to say this, wait, Michael, before you, because like Eric, the best way to describe to do it to tell another thing, he might like be like, hey, you got to edit all this out because, but he was working on a commercial with Conan O'Brien for his TBS show back in the day, and Conan like saw him. He was like, they had him as like the stand-in or something just for like a second because he's a big guy and he's like. His face looks like has that like DiCaprio like blue eyes, blonde hair, and he's got like that beard, and he's just and Conan's like, what, did they find the Viking version of me? Like he's like a bit so, and he's like, but he's also one of like the most like sweet, like he has such a sweet disposition. So he's like Mr. Man, and he's like very humble and like he's in this. Yeah, like, I just got to say like I don't want to bother you and be but I have to say I don't normally do this, but I have to say that Heat and the line this what you wrote, and he like delivers a line, and Michael Mann's like, yeah, I fucking wrote that.
yeah, right, yeah,
My
that's right,
God,
yeah, I fucking wrote that line.
that's amazing.
It is amazing. That's the
Oh
that's
my
the
God.
that's the response you'd want from Michael Mann.
But yeah,
Oh my God. But
Eric
yeah, I
tells a
guess
story
like
about it.
what was he expecting? Like the response? Like what would the response be to that? Being like, I
No,
love
no,
that
but he
line.
didn't
He's
say
like,
it.
thank you. And then
Yeah,
just
but he
walk
said it
away.
like that's exactly what he was expecting. Like
Right,
like
right.
because he
Right. And
wasn't
then
like
instead he was like, yeah, fucking right. I wrote that.
yeah. No, but that's no. He was expecting like yeah, I fucking wrote that. Like that's like that.
Okay.
Like yeah. No, he was like he wrote. He didn't. I just want to be clear for the listeners. He wasn't like yeah, I fucking wrote that. He was like yeah, fucking like yeah, it's awesome. He like
Yeah,
he
right.
matched the energy. He was
It
like yeah, I
wasn't a
fucking wrote that shit.
dismissal,
Like
right? It was
yeah,
a
Yeah.
celebration of like, yeah, I
yeah,
did that.
Okay. Okay.
yeah. I'm sorry if I delivered it wrong. It was more of like an energized like yeah,
All right. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's exactly what you would want. Like I wouldn't want any other response from Michael Mann.
Okay.
So what? Gosh, I
And I feel
think
like there's still so much to talk about. Like
yeah,
there's so
all my
many.
notes um from this viewing, I think we tackled. Um, and then it ends with them holding hands, like because people talk when like I've listened to so many podcasts. People talk about so much in this film, but that I love them holding hands at the end, and didn't and Hannah, their conflict is over, and no one is happy. Like
Yeah.
it's an ending, and I appreciate that he's sad.
Yeah, I loved that scene. I thought it was so well done. Just the way like the lights from the airplanes and like the shadow. I mean, I just thought it was so expertly done and it was suspenseful. Like I was like, "Oh my God, like who's gonna die?" I mean, I think you kind of know what's gonna happen, but I thought that was just so well done. I mean, there's so many scenes in the movie. Like Michael Mann is just very slick. Even if I didn't think the movie was like incredible, or there's certain things didn't work for me, there's so many great scenes, like just the shootout scene, that last scene, these big sequences are so expertly done.
They are. And poor I'm forgetting the actor's name. Who's the actor who plays the chief in Monk?
Oh,
Um,
For some monk.
The character's name's Bosco, but it's
Come
he
on.
was
Why am I
Oh, right. His like the guy with the suspenders or whatever,
Ted Levine.
Ted Levine. Thank you, Patrick. Gosh, I just came I forgot Ted
We
Levine's
forgot
name.
about that.
Ted Levine was supposed to play Wayne Grow, and he was like, "Come on, man! Like, make me be someone else. How many times am I gonna play?" Like, because
Wait, that's
he
it's
was a,
so funny that
he
you
was the,
started
he was
with
the
Monk.
sociopath in
He
Silence of
was
the Lambs,
Buffalo
right?
Bill. He was
Yeah, Buffalo Bill. He was Buffalo Bill.
Oh,
Put
right.
the puppy, right? Put the lotion on. What is it? Put the
Wait,
punny in the bucket. The puppy in the bucket.
I don't know, but this
Come on, what's the line from Silence of the Lambs?
Eugene, that needs to be like a promo for our
Put the puppy in the bucket.
put the puppy in the bucket, in the bucket on the skin. Can you put it rubs the lotion on the skin.
It rubs the lotion on the skin. That's right.
But I love that he's like, I don't want to be typed as like
It
these
rubs
types
the
of like
lotion on the skin, or it gets the hose again.
yeah. I love that he's like Ted. If this story is accurate, like Ted Levine's like, I don't want to be typecast as this type of person, so he plays the cop, and then for like the next 10 years, he's like a cop, like
He's typecast as a cop. Yeah. Well, he's got a good run on Monk after that. No, that's his bread and butter after this movie. He's got to be grateful for Mann for giving him that cop role, because then he gets a nice cushy job.
Shout out to Monk for all those Monk heads out there.
All right, so you guys ready for a new segment?
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. Our first fan mail.
Our first fan mail. So the first for the Unwrapped Finally podcast, we've got our first fan mail submitted to our wonderful email account, unwrappedfinalypodcast@gmail.com. We got a message from Zach, who says, I'm enjoying the show so far. Your recent episode about Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the conversation about darker themes and images in kids' movies, quote unquote, called to mind this exchange from 2018 in what looks like Time magazine, where Matt De La Pena and Kate Camillo exchanged articles. Matt wrote about why we shouldn't shield children from darkness, and Kate DiMichello wrote about why children's books should be a little sad.
And Matt De La Pena, right? He wrote Last Stop on Market Street. Is that right? And Kate De Camillo, I think she did The Tale of Despero. I think that's where they were both there.
Yes, that's correct. And he just says, thanks for sharing your knowledge of opinions about and passions for movies old and new. Zach.
All right. Thank you, Zach.
So sweet. I love it. Getting some real feedback here.
And I look forward to finding those conversations at time, because I've never read Tale of Despero, but I do like Last Stop on Market Street, and our program actually just read it to a bunch of third graders, excuse me.
So I actually had another thought, because I didn't realize we were reading this, and I just saw Saving Private Ryan the other day.
Oh wow.
And it actually, like, with the kids, we watched it all together, which is like, I didn't think that was going to go well, but it actually went really well. And made me think of that comment, because there's a lot of violence in that movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. That could be an interesting one to do. And it's Spielberg. It's so Spielberg, which I know you love. But we can.
What does so Spielberg mean? You mean brilliantly filmed and fantastically executed?
No, that's not what I meant by it. But But anyway, we could put that on the shelf, but it would definitely be a good response to that conversation.
Zachary, wait, I'm sorry, but Zachary sent us a beautiful email, and you have to come up just like swinging with like brass knuckles.
I know. Well, because I felt like Saving Private Ryan was a good example of your argument, Michael, that violence can be good for kids to see, because it did elicit a lot of like really interesting conversation. But I didn't love the movie.
I don't know if I said violence can be good for kids. I'm just saying it in Who Framed. First of all, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is worlds apart from Saving Private Ryan.
Leah's like,
sure. But I'd rather watch Saving Private Ryan.
I took the points you guys delivered, and I was like, maybe Saving Private Ryan is a movie for kids.
God.
So,
oh my God! We'll edit this all out, because now I'm going to be attacked by all the parents out there.
No, it'd be awesome.
All the parents.
Leah, we got you. You defended the male dancers, so when the male dancers come for us, you got our back.
I did not.
That's right.
All right, we'll skip that.
And it's not like the kids it's not like the students you are watching it with are like 6 or 7 years old, right?
No.
Right. So
yeah,
it was I'm pretty sure that that when Saving Private Ryan came out, there were boys the age of the boys you watched it with who were taken to the theater to see it, to understand, right, that historical moment.
Oh, absolutely.
And we talked a lot about history. I mean, it was actually really interesting. I was like, oh yeah, this actually was like kind of worth doing for the discussions about
it is typical.
Really is like.
It's typical Spielberg in that there are moments that are cinematically breathtaking. There are moments that feel so real, they stay with you forever, where you remember. It's almost as if that the opening scene, right, is as if is how I fake remember World War II. If I'm thinking about what World War II must have been like, I think of the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan, similar with Schindler's List for a lot of people as well, right? So like, it Spielberg creates a film that have moments that are so real. It's what one's historical memory like attributes to what must actually have happened, and it's also morality play, right? It is like the story in particular, right, is a morality play, right? So he does it's incredible, it's real, and there's this larger question that's being asked in his specific film, in his specific story, right? It is textbook Spielberg. It is and I think Schindler's List does something very similar, and I'll be very excited for us to when we cover Schindler's List.
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah. We're covering Schindler's List.
Yeah, and Leah's never seen it.
Yes, I know, shocking.
Leah's never seen Jaws either. Like I would do Jaws and Schindler's List and like Private Ryan. I think those three, and with like something like Lincoln, they all go together. But Leah will never watch Jaws.
I don't think I can do it.
Yeah, that's okay. I respect that.
It's a testament to Spielberg not just being a wishy-washy kind of director. If you're so afraid that you won't even put Jaws on.
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
It is because it goes back to
right now.
Leah. I don't know if you know this, but people were really not that intimidated by sharks until Jaws.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, I believe, yeah.
This is accurate historical information.
In the U.S. of A. People were terrified. There was a real fear of sharks post the film Jaws. Yes.
Okay. Well, Spielberg must be very powerful then.
He most definitely is.
All right.
Unwrapped Finally is hosted by Michael Lavalio, Leah Schell, and Patrick Lavalio. Produced by me, Eugene Mock. Got a question or a hot take for the Unwrapped Pod team? Email unwrappedfinalypodcast@gmail.com. Your message could be featured on a future episode. And if you haven't already, give us a follow wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening. See you next time.